Hello everyone. We are going to get started in just a second. I'm going to crack open my black cherry Polar Premium Seltzer. Can someone in the chat chime in and just let me know if you can hear me? Check, check, check. The Undead of Night is back for their second live stream. Thanks for joining. Is anyone, all right, Jennifer can hear me. All right, cool. Well, we're just going to give it a few minutes to give people a chance to join up. And in the meantime, hey Liz, how's it going? In the meantime, I'm just going to be putting some paint on the old palette. Just squeezing out some black and white acrylic. You know the drill. Just standard underpainting stuff. Okay. All right. Well, I suppose we're just going to get rolling then. Got a few people tuned in, and I'm sure more will join us as we go. So, hello, I'm Clint Carney. You are watching Art Autopsy. This is a bi-weekly live art event that I host, and I encourage everybody who's watching at home to get your art supplies together and make some art right alongside with me. You don't have to try to make what I'm making. You just make your own thing at any medium, whatever your medium of choice. And yeah, the whole idea is I'm just trying to encourage people to make art and hopefully build a body of work and just enjoy yourselves while you create. So I thank you guys so much for tuning in and being part of the show. Oh, Julie B has joined as well. Hey, Julie. So yeah, first things first, I just want to say very special thanks to all of my patrons that follow me over on Patreon. So thank you, Jennifer, Tango14, Travis, Anthony, Rachel, Derek, Sea of Dead Faces, Violet, Jill, Archangel, Charlie, and Misty, who is our newest patron. I really appreciate you guys. As you probably know, as a freelance artist, there's not a lot of income that is reliable. I'm always going gig to gig, painting to painting. So having people who are true patrons of the supporting me, that gives me some kind of a reliable money coming in, and that's really means a lot and helps me do what I do. So thank you so much. For anyone who's interested in my Patreon but is not in a spot to support financially, I encourage you to sign up for the free account anyway, because even on the free account you still get the notifications for the live streams and other events and so forth. And then if you're on a paid account, you get access to other cool stuff, including discounts on my store, which is going to be my not so clever segue into I've been continuing to add new products to the storefront on clintcarney.com. So this is a good web. If you can remember my name, you can remember the website clintcarney.com. And so if you ever need to find links to my Patreon or to my YouTube channel, you can find it right there. The most recent bit of merchandise that I added is this. I'm actually wearing it. This is the clown from this ridiculous, goofy short film that I made a few years back, and I post it every year on 4th of July as my weirdo fireworks safety PSA, and it blows up every year. And we got over 1 million views on Instagram alone this year in the first day. So yeah, anyway, have the shirt. So if you like that video or just want a weird shirt with a noseless clown holding a lit cherry bomb on it, it's on my website. Okay. Now, one of my favorite parts about this live stream, before we get into making a piece of art, is that I love showcasing the artwork of people who watch this stream. So if you end up making art during this live stream, please send me a picture. My email address is clintcarneycreates@gmail.com. Send it to me and I'll feature it on an upcoming live stream. I got one user submission from the last live stream, and this is from Liz, who's watching currently, and she's always been amazing about tuning in and making art during the stream. And here it is. It is this amazing butterfly, very vibrant colors and just cool line work and everything. So Liz, if you want to tune in to the, or drop us some info in the chat and tell us about this piece, tell us how it came to be, so everyone can know. And then if you feel like it, feel free to drop a link to your socials or whatever if you want people to know where they can find more of your art. Let's see. The Undead of Night asks, is that John Merrick? Is that a John Merrick mask behind you? Yes, it is. Trick or Treat Studios makes this mask, and I actually happened to find it at a garage sale, so it's a pretty good score for a garage sale find. Okay, now let's see. The first thing I want to do before we start painting today, one more thing. I want to show you how the painting that I started during the last live stream turned out, and here it is. So as you can see, it's come a long way since that live stream. I gave him a hand in the foreground with the switchblade, made him standing in front of a video store, because it's the mask itself that I based this painting on. It's based on a mask that I made, which actually I think is, yeah, it's in the background there. If I'm probably getting the angle with the camera all wrong where I'm pointing, but you can see it behind me. Anyway, it's kind of an homage to awesome 1980s era zombie flicks. Actually, I guess late 70s zombie flicks too, because it does have that Dawn of the Dead skin tone to it, kind of. Anyway, so I put them in front of a video store, and then as a little homage here to Return of the Living Dead, I did just a real rough and dirty section of the Return of the Living Dead poster here on the window in the background. When I showed this painting to my wife, the first thing she said was, "Why does it say ho?" This is supposed to be a hanging sign that says horror inside the video store. It was just ho showed up. I didn't have room for all the letters, and I thought that was funnier. So there you go. Okay, let's see. Now, Liz chimed in the chat. I use Micron pens, had yellow 2 Stadler pens for the red. Found an anatomical drawing of a ladybug as a guide. It only took me a few hours to draw. All right, well, thanks for the info on that. Great job on the drawing. Love that. Yeah, so I'm going to move this guy out of the way, and we are going to move on to our blank canvas. We're going to start a brand new painting today. I actually have not thought at all. Well, it's not that I haven't thought at all, but I have made no plans for what I'm going to paint today. Sometimes I'll come in with a general idea on, you know, maybe I'll have a sketch or just a vague idea of what I want to paint, but not today. Today I am just shooting from the hip, making it up as I go along. So much so, in fact, that I neglected to set out some water to my brush with. Let me go. Oh, actually, hey, look, I got some water right here. Give me 1 second. Okay. I got some drinking water here, which will now become paint water. Okay, so we're going to start out with an underpainting in black and white, and again, just for the sake of expediency for the live stream and making some progress in a rapid amount of time, I'm going to be doing the underpainting in acrylic. So, yeah, again, I have no idea what I'm going to paint. And we are going to find out together. Thank you guys for the compliments on the last painting. reading the chat now. I appreciate that. So I'm just going to throw some water on my palette right here and thin out some black paint, and we're just going to start sketching. Again, I have no idea. In fact, you know what I'm going to do, just as kind of like an exercise to show you, I'm just going to randomly make some bullshit shapes, and we're going to turn it into something, just to show you that you don't have to have a plan at all. You can just, you know, do something crazy and figure it out. Look at that. All right. See that shape? I have no idea what that is, but we're going to use that as our guide to turn it into something. Sorry, I'm just laughing at Julie's comment. The Button House promo shirt. Okay, yeah, so again, I'm just using this as a guide, and let's see what kind of a strange creature we can form out of our random squiggles here. This is going to take a while before it's going to form into anything. I am just letting these squiggles dictate what the basic shape of this, and at least to start with, and we will go from there. Already I'm seeing a little bit of an eyeball here, perhaps. Maybe there's another eye going off here. Obviously this painting is going to be quite abstract. It's funny, I think I recently, just yesterday maybe, released a video on my YouTube channel, which has a total clickbait title, by the way, very self-aware. It was called Why Does YouTube Hate Horror, or something like that. And it was all about how the short film that I was just talking about later just does like incredibly well on other platforms, but on YouTube it gets no love. And along those lines, I've noticed every time I paint something probably like what this is going to turn out to be, if the start is any indication, anything I paint, anytime I paint something that's just weird and abstract and horrific, YouTube doesn't show those videos to as many people as it does if I paint something that is a little more on the fantasy side. So that's kind of why I've been leaning into the fantasy side a lot lately. I mean, it's fun to draw scenes with stories, for one. That's super fun, but also I know that it's going to get a little more exposure on the platform if I do that. So this will not be one. This will certainly be a painting that YouTube is going to bury, but that is okay, because after all, we are just doing it for fun. And I think you can see that this is just a bizarre bit of weirdness thus far. Just blocking in shapes, figuring out what it's going to be. I laid then this green gray base color here before I started painting, so I'm going to squeeze some more of that out onto my palette, and we're going to start using that like an eraser. So this arm right here is going to go under this weird fleshy bit. Look, guys, I'm telling you, it's going to be a while before you figure out what the hell I'm painting here, because it's going to be a while before I know what I'm painting. This is so you're going to bear with me on this one, and my hope is that some of you are at home making art along with me, so that it doesn't really matter as much when my painting shapes up into something intelligible, because you'll be preoccupied with your own amazing work of art. So with that in mind, chime in the chat if you are working on art tonight, and tell us what you're working on. What kind of medium are you dealing with, etc. And if you've never tried just like sitting down and drawing something or painting something without thinking about what it's going to be, it's a worthwhile exercise, right? I mean, I do it all the time. You probably figured that out by now. A lot of my paintings are pretty weird and abstract, and even when I think I know where they're going, I mean, if you've been watching the live stream, you know that my finished paintings always are, there's always new details and a lot of different stuff that wasn't there when I was when I begin the painting. So yeah, it's a fun way to work, and I highly recommend trying it out sometime. Yeah, just weirdness here. Got a couple of arms happening. Some kind of a weird face-ish thing up here, which is going to turn into something eventually. And yeah, this little character person, or whatever the hell it is having a rough time of it at the moment. Let's see. Liz is sketching a bug today. Jennifer is working on a felting piece. Awesome. And Undead of Night working on a colored pencil drawing of the graveyard zombie from the 1990 Night of the Living Dead. Oh, awesome. Is that the Greg Funk zombie? Yeah, it's a great piece, man. I love that remake, by the way. The Savini directed remake. It's a great one. Lots of fun. Amazing effects by John Volich and the Optic Nerve team. If you haven't seen the remake of Night of the Living Dead, I mean, this is kind of blasphemy, I guess, but I actually prefer it to the original. One of the few remakes that I like better than the original, although I still love the original. I still watch them both at least once a year. But if I only was able to watch one, I would go for the remake. Also, I mean, just great performances by Tony Todd, Patricia Tallman, why am I blanking on his name? Tom Towles, yeah. Yeah, anyway, great remake. So yeah, anyway, definitely send me your picture of your art when you finish the piece. Would love to see it. I've been on a I was about to say I've been on a Romero zombie kick, but the reality of it is that I'm never not on a Romero zombie kick. I just did a back-to-back of Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead, which was the second time I watched Dawn this year and the third or fourth time I watched Day. I was just like putting them on in the background when I paint, and since I was working on that zombie piece, it felt appropriate to throw on some zombie movies in the background while I worked. So yeah, he's turning into something here. see if you can embrace like a process like this where you're just kind of free flowing and not too precious about what the painting's going to become, you will never lack for ideas when making art, because you can always just sit down and create anything. And the more you do exercises like this, I don't know, I think it trains your brain just to be open to receiving new creative ideas, and I think you'll find yourself just never lacking for creative inspiration. And I think what's going to happen, I think this thing's going to have a tail, and that's what's going to be looping around and going into its weird, gross mouth. Hey, Christopher Moonlight has joined us. Thanks for joining, buddy. If you guys don't know Christopher, go check out his YouTube channel as well, because he is a filmmaker that experiments with all kinds of crazy multimedia stuff. He's always kind of on the forefront of experimenting with new technologies and how it can apply to his films. So check out his channel, go subscribe, support his stuff. Elizabeth, wow, coming together fast. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's shaping into something. I don't know what that something is, but you know. Okay. So I'm going to start just throwing in some highlights here in a bit. Actually, let me just kind of refine this back piece a bit. Start throwing in some highlights, figuring it out. We're gonna figure out something that's gonna go here ish, just for balance. Maybe not, we'll see. And now is, I guess, the time to think about where our light is coming from. Probably, well, I'll just probably have the light source kind of overhead in front from here, and then I'll probably throw a secondary light source behind them just to cast some rim light on them. I'm going to work that out later, but for the sake of just moving forward, we're going to think about what this shape might look like if light was falling on it from up above and to the left. And I know, like, light source can be difficult if you're new to painting to grasp on three-dimensional objects, especially when you're painting something that's unfamiliar to you. But it helps just to think of the whatever you're painting, break it down in your head into geometric shapes, and then, you know, think of a ball, think of a square, a cube, or whatever. Or in my case, I have, you know, all kinds of things laying around that I can look at for reference as far as how light might wrap around something. So, you know, you can really, you don't have to use something that looks like what you're painting to be a reference. You can really kind of use anything that has a similar shape there. Christopher says he's stuck in the longest car line ever. Nice to watch you paint. Are you watching me stream while you drive, Christopher? That does not sound safe. Okay, so this, yeah, again, this is going to be this tail, this phallic snake tail that's going into his mouth here. Because why not? Oops, I always forget that sometimes younger folks watch this channel. I'll try to watch my adult themes. Oops. And just smeared too much paint on there, but look at that. Like magic. Fixed. So that's the thing. You can see obviously how fast this is, you know, turning into something. God knows what that something is, but that's part and due to the fact that I'm doing this underpainting in acrylic and it just dries real fast. And I'm also painting very thin. I keep when I'm reaching over here, that's where my palette and my water cup is. So I just keep reaching over there to you know, wet my brush. And when the paint is still wet on the canvas. With acrylic, you can just get water on your brush and then kind of, you know, finesse that paint around a bit. Once it dries up, it's kind of locked in place, but before then, you got some room to do some blending. And then, of course, after it's dry, or even when it's partially dry, you can just throw paint right on top of it. You know what this kind of reminds me of? There's a, I bring this up like every time, but there's a Distortions Unlimited mask from the, I want to say early 90s, maybe late 80s, and I think it's called Suck Face or something like that. And it kind of looks like this thing. So that's probably a subconsciously where I'm pulling this face from. And I'm not worried about detail at this stage, or even, you know, certainly not worried about realism at all. I'm just sketching, just finding the character, and then once I think we got a firm grasp on what the action of the shot is and everything, then we'll get into defining the drawing more, or you know, refining it, detailing it, and figuring out what exactly this weird anatomy of this thing is supposed to be doing. I wonder how many people like turn on the live stream and then they just see this fucking weird thing on my canvas and turn it right off. More than a few. More than a few. The number is not 0. And we got some drips going on. Sometimes you just let the drips go, you know. Sometimes they'll turn into something cool. Other times, a lot of times you just paint over them, but sometimes you can get something cool out of it. Get some free work out of dripping paint. Christopher says Clive Barker would dig this. Thanks, man. Yeah, I definitely can. I was thinking that too. I was definitely feeling a little Barker influence on this, which you know, I love his work. And Undead of Night says getting a cannibal zombie merman eating his tail. Yeah, I mean, pretty much. Sure, I'll take that. Kev Tajirian Art says I stay for the weird things. Hey, thanks for joining us. Glad Glad some people dig the weird stuff. Oh. Okay, and I feel like this hand right here, I feel like this hand right here just needs to be gripping something that's also going to circle around about. So we're gonna add a little something here. I was gonna carry this line right through the hand. I'll fix that later. And yeah, let's see. I don't know what this is yet or where it's coming from, but we're going to carry it around over here, and whatever I put in this little section here, this tail is going to be interacting with it because I say so. And again, just taking the gray paint here and erasing all the stuff that would be behind this tail slash tentacle slash whatever the heck it ends up being. Yeah, cool. Yeah, why not? You know, I'm gonna turn this, the end of this, we're gonna make that to form into a head of some creature. Again, we are just making up creatures here. Kind of looks like a little Audrey 2 action there from Little Shop of Horrors, but it will inevitably take on its own personality as we continue to work it. All right, cool. Charlie says, finally gotten around to reading his Books of Blood. Awesome. That's Clive Barker for those of you who aren't following along. Yeah, Books of Blood are awesome. I haven't read those in many years. I discovered Clive Barker's work when I was arguably too young to be reading it, but I believe I was in the 6th grade when I first read Cabal. That was the first book I read from him, and I got hooked right away, and then read everything I could get my hands on. I actually got to meet Clive. I can't remember if I already told this story on this live stream thing before or not, so if I have, bear with me. I'm just an old man repeating myself. But I was at a film festival in Las Vegas, and part of the film festival they were doing a art charity auction to benefit the ASPCA, and they asked if I would donate some art for that. I had just done a series of oil paintings for a film called Art of the Dead, and that was showing at the festival, and so the festival directors then knew I was an artist, and I said, obviously I'm down with animals and the ASPCA, so I said, yeah, hell yeah, I'll donate some art for the auction. And it ended up there were only 2 artists in the show there at the festival. One was me and the other was Clive Barker, so that was pretty awesome. I got to meet him. He signed my copy of The Thief of Always, and I actually bought one of his pieces that was up for auction, which I have hanging in my living room, and he was just the most awesome dude. Again, just as like a lifelong fan of his work, or a fan of his work since I was in the 6th grade many moons ago. It was really cool to get to meet him, and he just, I've met, I work in the movie business, so I meet a lot of people, but he's got kind of that rare quality where when you're talking to him, he just kind of makes you feel like you're the only one there in the room, and just such a, it was just such a great experience. One of my favorite meet a celebrity moments. Let's see. Christopher says, lost the poster he signed for me at his gallery art show. Oh man, I hope you can find that poster. That would be awesome to find and tragic to lose. Undead of Night says, is Art of the Dead a movie or documentary? It's a movie. It's a lower-ish budget horror film, super fun, directed by Ralph Konevsky, who is a really good dude. I've worked with him a bunch. He's directed films like There's Nothing Out There, The Black Room, and anyway, it's fun. It's got Richard Grieco in it, and Tara Reid, and kind of like a known cast, but it's not an A-list cast, but it's a fun film. It's lots of practical effects. There's creature suits and gore and stuff like that, and certainly a fun one to check out. It's not a zombie movie, just to clarify, despite the title sounding like it might be. It's more of a demonic possession movie, and it's been a while since I watched it, but I want to say it has themes of like the 7 deadly sins. In fact it does, because the paintings I created for it they're like these possessed paintings, and they kind of represent the 7 deadly sins, and each one is like a different animal, and they kind of come to life throughout the film. The paintings end up playing an integral part in the film, so that's cool. So a lot of times when I do paintings for movies, they're just like, in the background on a wall, which is cool too. It's nice to have your work get seen by people, but it's also cool when your work becomes like a story point, And if anyone is watching is a fan of that movie, I still have all of those paintings from that movie. So if anyone wants one, hit me up. They're for sale. Although it's kind of a tricky sell, because all of these movies are all of the paintings in that movie are like tied in. Because again, it's the 7 deadly sins. So like part of me doesn't want to break up the set, but at the same time, they're huge too, so I almost have to break up the set if I actually want to sell it, unless I just find that one super fan that loves the movie so much they just want every possessed painting. Oh, the other fun thing about that though too is that all of the paintings, so the 7 deadly sin paintings in that movie, if you line them up next to each other, they actually all connect into one giant painting. So if anyone has like a spare 15 feet of wall space and wants to line up a giant mural, I've got the paintings for you. Okay, I'm just doing a little cleanup around the edges here, and then I'm going to get in and start detailing and refining these shapes. It's clearly still in the what the hell am I looking at stage. I mean, honestly, this painting might always be in the what the hell am I looking at stage, but I do want to obviously, yeah, I mean, as you put detail in, it will become more apparent what's happening. I don't even know what's happening with his face right now. One eyeball's like popping out of the side of his head. Do I fix it? Do I leave it wonky like that? I do not know. Christopher says he'd party with this guy. I assume you're talking about Mr. Suckface here. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm just going to start up top with this creature and work our way down. You know, it also, other than the Audrey 2 look, it kind of also feels like a Beetlejuice sandworm. It's definitely going to want some teeth in there. And for those who are watching, oh, first off, if this is the first time you're watching one of my live streams, let me know in the comments. Love to know when new people are watching. Charlie says it reminds me of Dr. Zoidberg. Oh, 100%. I totally see that. Now I won't be able to unsee that. And Elizabeth asks, do you have photos of it with all the paintings lined up? You actually get to see it in the movie, at the end of the movie, with all of them lined up. Do I have photos myself of that? I don't even know if I ever did. I lined them up side by side while I was painting them so they could flow into each other. But I don't think I ever had 15 feet of clear space anywhere I lived to actually line them all up and look at them all together. Good question now. Something else wants to be coming out of this mouth right here, but I don't quite know what just yet. Let's see. You know what, let's bring that shape down and then this shape up. Just redrawing as I go. It's the beauty of acrylic paint. You can do this with oil too. It just takes longer to dry, but you can just fix your drawing as you go. So we're going to give it a little bit of a tongue here. And I'm just gonna do some hints of some sharp teeth here. Which we'll refine later as we get into, oops, keep dipping my brush in the wrong color here. We'll refine these teeth better as we continue to move forward. But for now, just laying those in as little white lines. Let's see. I rearranged, by the way, I rearranged kind of every time I do the live stream. I have my cameras in different spots. I think this is a good spot for it because now I'm like, every time I turn to get more stuff, more paint on my brush, actually forces me to look at the chat and be a little more interactive. So I like that. Let's see. When did YouTube live chats get XP? What happens when we level up? Oh, I think I just unlocked that. I must have, I think I hit some kind of subscriber threshold or view threshold on the channel, and now I have like access to these. Everyone gets ranked in the chat, so I guess it's supposed to encourage people to participate. So far, it's working. Um, and Elizabeth asked what movie were those paintings in. The ones I was talking about were in a movie called Art of the Dead, directed by Rolf Konevsky, produced by Michael and Sunny Mahal. So Art of the Dead, it's probably available everywhere streaming at the moment. It had a DVD and Blu-ray release too as well. I I'm fairly confident that I'm on the special features of the Blu-ray. I think I recorded a talking track with the director, with Rolf. I mean, I know for sure I recorded it. I don't know for sure that it made it to the special features, but I think it did. I don't think they would bother having me record that without putting it on. And I also did like some digital visual effects in the film too. So like when the paintings come to life and stuff, I actually not only made the paintings, but I did the digital work to make them come to life. So that was super fun. Let's see. So let's talk more movie art stuff. The first movie that I ever did a painting for was Scream 4. And if you haven't seen Scream 4, there's like, or if you're not familiar with the Scream series at all, you're living under a rock, but that's okay. But there is, in the world of Scream, there's like this meta version of Scream movies that exists within the world of Scream called Stab. So the characters in Scream watch this movie series called Stab, which is essentially Scream. And in part 4, there's like they call it a Stabathon, which is a local film festival screening of all of the Stab movies. And there's a bunch of artwork from different artists throughout that sequence, and one of them is mine, and that was my first foray into doing art for bigger movies. And cool side note on that, Wes Craven, it was, well, so I was told, and he later told me himself, it was his favorite piece in the show, and he actually had it hanging up in his production office during the making of that movie. So I was pretty honored at that, because obviously I grew up being a big fan of his work. So to kind of have my first major film that I got to work on be a Wes Craven movie was pretty special to me. My buddy Skip Crank was the assistant property master on that, and he's the one that got me involved initially, and then later on I'd go on to work with J.P. Jones, who was the prop master on that movie, but I didn't meet him on Scream. But the movie we all did together after that was called We Bought a Zoo, which I also did a lot of art for, and that kind of that movie really launched my making art and props for movies career, because I just met so many. It was a big budget movie directed by Cameron Crowe, and I met so many cool art department folks on that movie. And after that movie wrapped, as they all went on to do new movies, pretty much every single one of them brought me onto their new movie. And that kind of snowballed from there, and I ended up with an accidental movie career. Which I was very grateful to have. Still am. Still do it. yeah, now I'm just going full Audrey 2 with this thing, although I'm sure I'll add some more details as we go that will differentiate it. But I also don't mind a little Audrey 2 homage in a painting. Why not? Oh man, I got to, speaking of Audrey 2, I did this podcast interview, which has not come out yet to the best of my knowledge, and the gentleman whose podcast it was basically one of the original Imagineers from Disney, but he also did all the mechanical builds and stuff for Audrey 2 and the the 1980s version of Little Shop of Horrors. So I got to see his workshop, which was absolutely insane and awesome. It's cool just to sit down and chat, creative stuff with him. But as you can see, so this character here is, starting to shape up a little bit more. So you can imagine once we get into kind of even this little rudimentary level of detail on the rest of it, it's really going to start to look like something, and then we can call it quits on the acrylic and jump over to oil and start doing the fun stuff, start getting in some color and some more detail, figuring out our background, what kind of setting is this guy going to be in, all that stuff. Let's see. And if you ever see a painting that I'm working on here in Art Autopsy that you like and you want in your collection, know that they all do eventually go up for sale. I give my patrons on Patreon first crack at any new paintings, so people over there get the option to buy them first, and then if no one from my Patreon picks it up, then it goes out to the public. But if you are on my Patreon, you actually get a discount on everything from my store, including paintings. So it actually works out pretty well if you do want to get a painting to be a Patreon member, because it more than gives you a pretty substantial discount. So, like how I just slid in that not so subtle pitch for my Patreon. What a scumbag. Well, that's also part of, being an artist. You gotta, if you want to do it for a living, you gotta promote. It's just part of the territory. And I don't know a single artist where promoting is in their nature. You have to fight your own nature to want to just be an introvert and just get out there. Otherwise, no one will know your art is available. Of course, that being said, it is perfectly fine to make art that is just for yourself and to never show anybody and never try to sell it. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. In fact, I never even tried to sell a painting until I was, I don't know, in my mid-20s probably. It had just never occurred to me that anyone would actually want one of my paintings, to be honest. Because I've always kind of did weird stuff, and when I started painting, I've been painting since I was a kid, but I just wasn't aware that there was a whole dark art world and a dark art movement out there. I didn't have I just wasn't aware of weirdo art, so I thought that maybe I was the only one. Of course, I was very pleasantly surprised to find out that there are a lot of like-minded individuals out there who enjoy painting bizarre stuff. And they're all the ones I've met have been pretty cool. Charlie asks, have you ever done a Medusa painting? I thought you did. I did 2 paintings of Medusa and a Medusa-ish thing. One painting was a straight up Medusa portrait. It was like I think I spent an hour, maybe 2 on it tops. It was like a rush job. It was a prop for a movie or a TV show. I don't even remember what movie or TV show it was. But it was just straight up a Medusa painting. And then I did another painting, and this one's called The Siren, and it's like a mermaid, but that has Medusa hair. And that one I really like. My friend Aurora posed for that one, and it is currently on display at Hyena Gallery in Burbank, I think. But yeah, that was a super fun one. I did like a really bold color palette. It was just like mostly blue with some bright orange pops of color, and yeah, it turned out really nice. I liked it. So, good question. Floorboard Voodoo asks, do you have paintings you were so personally attached to that you wouldn't part with it? I will say initially, right? Like when I first started, I did, so Hyena Gallery in Burbank, the one I just mentioned, that's the first one that really gave me like a space in their gallery. And that was kind of when I first realized I could sell stuff. But before that, I did like some pop-up stuff, right? So I did like a one-night event in like a downtown LA gallery, and at that time, again, before I sold stuff, I had gotten so emotionally attached to, especially at that pop-up event, those paintings I was selling. So I priced them so ridiculously high that it's so high that it was like I didn't want to sell them, which pretty much I didn't want to, but it was high enough to where I figured, okay, if I do sell them, then it's worth it at this price point. And it was like ridiculous, more than, especially for my skill set at the time, more than any reasonable person would ever pay for one of my paintings. But when I met Bill Schaefer and went into Hyena, and a mutual friend of ours had shown me his work, or had shown him my work, and he asked if I would want to show something at the gallery and put it for, and make it available for sale. That was kind of my first time thinking, like, oh, like I don't know what to give the gallery because I don't want to sell any of my work because I had grown so attached to it. So I did a painting specifically to sell. That was the first painting I sold through Hyena, and it was like this. It was like a baby head on top of a rat body sitting on a throne. And I just knew going into it, because it was for the gallery and they're in business to sell art, that I was going to have to part with it. So I just, when you create it and you know it's going out into the world, sometimes it's easier than to part with the work than it is if you are doing a personal piece and then suddenly someone wants to buy it. So certainly I had that impulse early on, is the short way to say it. But the more I got in, once I finally kind of made the decision to pursue art and creative endeavors as a career, I had to get over that, because you can't do it. You can't make money doing it if you're not selling your work. But certainly understand the impulse to not want to sell it. And a side note about that first painting that sold, the person who bought it actually was another artist, and his name is John Renzel. He's an artist from the Bay Area in California, and I had coincidentally found his work on what's it called? Deviant art. He does these really cool abstract, just bizarro portrait characters, and he had one called The Baby, and it was just this fucked up baby. And I had just bought that painting of his. I hit him up on DeviantArt, and because I liked the piece I saw there, and I bought the painting from him. And then right around the same time, he was buying that painting of mine, and I don't think at the time either one of us were aware that we were buying each other's work, although we figured it out. So that was just kind of cool. Like it's nice. A lot of paintings. I've sold a lot of paintings, and I don't know where they are. Right? They sell at a gallery, and they go out into the world, and I don't know who bought them or where the paintings end up. But when you do get to know where, when you sell directly to a customer, or someone writes you to tell you they bought a piece, and you get to actually know that your painting went to a good home, that's a cool feeling, Charlie says, think it was the Siren one, was watching Clash of the Titans and was thinking about it. Oh yeah, probably the Siren. Man, that Clash of the Titans, the original, is great. Ray Harryhausen did all the stop motion in there, and his Medusa is especially terrifying. Something about just the jerkiness of stop motion animation just made that character extra terrifying. So love that one. Yeah, I don't want to lose it price. Yeah, absolutely. Charlie asks if anyone remembers Elfwood, the art site. I am not familiar with that one. Tell us all about it, please. This guy is only going to get grosser the more and more I paint him. If you were hoping that he was going to not be gross, I am sorry to dash your hopes. And I think I'm gonna just roll with what I already started and have his eyes pointing in two different directions, because why wouldn't they? Of course, I am prone to changing my mind about such things as I go, so we'll see. We'll see how it shapes up in the end. You know, I don't know what's happening with his eye right here on this side, but it was, it's about to get even weirder, because I have it kind of splitting off into this weird thing here, so I'm just going to lean into the, I don't know what the hell is happening-ness of it all, and just get a little smaller brush here. So maybe I'll have like the eyelid kind of like opening up like a flower, and if I get really crazy with it, maybe I'll even have some insects emerging or something. I don't know. Something to think about. Yay or nay on emerging insects? Anyone else excited for the upcoming Toxic Avenger remake? I am looking forward to it, and Toxic Avenger is one of those, it's so campy and goofy and over the top that I don't feel bad about it getting remade. You know what I mean? It's just a fun movie, and it doesn't take itself seriously by any stretch of the imagination, so I think that you could remake it and do it well. But I also fucking love the director. The director on this reboot is Macon Blair, who, his directorial debut was a film called I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore, with Elijah Wood, and I'm blanking on the lead woman in that name, but she's from Yellow Jackets and a bunch of other cool stuff. Anyway, it's a rad film, super cool. But Macon Blair, aside from being a director, I became aware of him as an actor, and he is just one of those actors that is so believable in everything he does. Like, he's just inherently interesting to watch, no matter what role he's in. So check him out. There's a film which he is the main character in. It's called Blue Ruin, and most of the runtime of that film is just him on camera. It's a very dark, messed up film, and his performance in it is just incredible. So check that out. He's also in the movie Green Room Same director as Blue Ruin, by the way, Jeremy Saulnier, or Saulnier. I actually don't know how to pronounce his name correctly. Anyway, so yeah, Toxic Avenger reboot. I'm there for it. I'll be there opening day. Fingers crossed that it's good. Oh, Charlie, thanks for the info on that art site. I'm going to have to look into that. Jennifer says she is definitely there for the insects. Good to know. So we're going to consider some insect action going on there, perhaps. Floorboard Voodoo says, yes, it was delayed for a long time. Charlie says, yes, insects. Oh, yeah, delayed for a long time. Yeah, the Toxic Avenger thing. Yeah, it's finally coming out, though. It's finally got a release date. I was over at Legendary, which is a big film studio. I was working on one of their, they have like a YouTube branch of Legendary called Nerdist, and I was working on a show with them, and in the lobby they have like this revolving digital poster, and the Toxic Avenger poster was on it, and I was like, oh yes, it's coming out. And then that was like over a year ago, and it still hasn't come out yet. But but the release date is actually set now. So yeah, I don't know what this weird explosion of eye tentacles is, but I'm there for it. Yeah, I'm digging that direction. It's all right. It's all right. And yeah, so all of this so far has just been black, white, and then the base color was green gray. So I'm using that for the medium tone. What I'm liking about this piece, just working on it, is that it's so abstract that I don't even have to worry about symmetry at all, because this character has no symmetry. It's not following any kind of real anatomy of planet Earth, so it is free to become whatever it wants to become. Hey, Gothic fucker joined. What is up, Violet? Thank you for joining. Are you working on a new piece today? And Violet is a artist from Portland. Yeah, right, Portland, I believe. Right, that's where you live. Who does really cool stuff. And also, I should say, and this goes for anybody, if you're in the chat and you just want to share your work with other people in the chat, feel free to post links to your stuff. It does not bother me at all. Certainly, I want you guys to get something out of this too. And a little bit of promotion every now and again is not a bad thing. I'm going to be starting on another piece, not for Art Autopsy, but I've talked about this before on here, and I just haven't started it yet. But there is a botanical garden here in Los Angeles, or part of Los Angeles, called Descanso Gardens, and they have an art gallery there on the grounds, and it is not the kind of place that you would think of as wanting to show my work at all, but I always wanted to show there because I love the botanical gardens, and I always go check out what they have in the gallery and stuff. Didn't think I would ever get a chance to show there, though, because again, I paint stuff like this, but I got an invitation to submit to their gallery for an upcoming group show, and I am going to work on a more tame piece to actually try to get into that gallery, just because it's a place I've always wanted to get into. So I'm going to start on that painting right away. I already got the canvas gessoed and sanded and ready to go, so I might start on that tonight after the live stream even. Who knows? Depends how much energy I have left in me after this. I'm generally up pretty late every night painting though. One thing or another. Violet's working on a portrait of it. Of your sister's horse. Oh, passed away. That's sorry to hear that. I bet you're gonna kill it though. I bet you're gonna do an awesome job on the portrait. Looking forward to seeing that. Oh, thank you, Jennifer. Yeah, I'm excited to at least have the chance to get in the gallery. So, you know, there are no guarantees, but I figure if I you know, I can still be true to my roots and paint something squirrel themed, which will be gallery friendly and also very much up my alley, since you all know I love a good squirrel painting. Oh, hey, if anybody wants to do me a very quick and free favor while you're watching, please just like the video for the live stream. Just click the thumbs up. And if you want to get really crazy with it, leave a comment. Because what that does is it actually helps the YouTube algorithm know that people are enjoying the stream, and then YouTube then recommends the stream to more people, and more people come in and watch it, and you know, that's good for everyone, especially me. Okay, it's only good for me, but I would appreciate it. Yeah, this guy's really gonna come alive once we start getting into color on him. I've got some ideas churning in my head with what to do with the color, so it's gonna be fun. I'll be making some bold choices. Yeah, so that Descanso Gardens painting, again, I'll probably keep it, probably end up doing a squirrel, but because I'm not going to go weird with it at all, the only way I can go weird with it is just to go crazy on the color palette. So I'm going to experiment with a color palette that I've never used before. In fact, I went out and just deliberately bought paints colors that I just normally don't work with, just so I can do something really crazy and vibrant with it, and have some fun with it. So if you want to see that one come together, I'll be posting it on Patreon as I work on it, and then of course when it's done, it'll get out there on my socials. But if you want to see it earlier, sign up for the old Patreon. Hey, thanks everybody. Hey, 7 people liked the video already while we're streaming. Thank you guys for doing that. Is the No Nose Clown shirt one of one? Oh, no, this is actually, so if you, I don't know if you were on earlier when I was talking about it. This is like a image from a short film, a 15-second short film that I made. I just dropped a video about this video on my YouTube channel if you want to watch it and find out what it's all about. But no, it's these are for sale on clintcarney.com as of today. They just went up, so I thought I would wear the shirt to commemorate the launch day of this design on my website. But so far it's one of one because I'm the only one that has it so far. Hopefully, hopefully some other weirdo will want one in their shirt collection. Charlie says, do a painting of the squirrels eating at the little picnic table. You never know. I might. I have so many squirrel references. I never lack for squirrel pictures because they come by and eat at the picnic table every day, and I usually take pictures of them. Actually, lately we've been getting an opossum and a skunk that come by every other night or so, and they're pretty cute as well. Okay, this is something. This is something. What that something is remains to be seen, but okay, I should probably, just for the sake of making progress, I feel like I've been working on his weird face for too long. I gotta move over and fix some of this other BS because I'm eager to get into color on this painting, but you know what, so I'm not, this clusteroid of garbled flesh right there, I'm not really digging it, but it also, I think it wants to be another mouth. So let me do that real quick. Let me just turn this into a mouth. And then we'll move on. So I'm just going to black that out at first. And the black that I just globbed on there is still pretty thick, so I can just take some white and blend it right in with the black. We're just making a little gum line right there. While the black is still wet, we can kind of get this gray color for the gum line, and then once the black dries up a little more, we can go in there with the bolder white for the teeth. And I'm also going to hint at like a little tongue under here. Okay, well, I got to let that dry a bit, and then we'll finish up that mouth. Once that dries a bit, let's move on to this hand over here. Let's clean up our outline a bit by just erasing some extra lines with this gray. Okay. Went in kind of thick with this white, so I'm going to have to let that dry a bit before I can blend too much into it. So I got to come back to those fingers in a second, but Elizabeth says, or living in a tree trunk. Oh, for the squirrels, yes. Could be, could be. I definitely, again, I've got like a ton of reference photos for squirrel positions I can use as, if I want. But at this point, quite frankly, I've painted squirrels so many times, I don't, I don't even need to look at a photo of a squirrel to paint one anymore. You know, you paint anything enough times and you just get to do it from the top of your head. But I want to go, again, just in the interest of doing like a bold color palette, I wanted to go with a fall scene, you know, just vibrant fall leaf colors, but not in the traditional yellow and orange sense, more kind of pushing it into like the turquoise and magenta and like yellow ochre maybe. That's the idea. We'll see what comes of that. Charlie has a few opossums eating the stray cat's food. They're adorable. Yes, they are. Oh, Violet just bought a shirt. Thank you so much. That is amazing. I appreciate that. You are now the second person other than me to have one. I appreciate that. Super cool. Yeah, so this hand, again, so this hand right here is, this tail's coming up, going into the mouth. This hand, and then this snake thingy is coming around here being gripped by this hand, but I think it's just kind of going off into nowhere, right? So, and I just put this hand in a unfortunate position here, which I want this, the end of this, to end up in this hand and coming out this way, and maybe the tongue is even connecting with the tip of its own tail. So let's think about how that could work here. So that's the end of the tail. Then it's going to go through this hand, but probably behind his head, and then around like this, like, yeah, come around like this, and then go behind the back. Yeah. Okay. So that's the plan. This is, you have to trust that I know what these random shapes are going to be. But so this, if we follow the head of this creature, it goes here through this hand, goes up here, goes behind the back, goes over here underneath this arm, comes out here, goes through that hand, and then the tail comes here where it is dangerously close to getting licked. Just reading Charlie's comment. Clinton, this painting is becoming pornographic. I'm so proud of you. Hey, I don't, you know, sometimes paintings take a turn. Who am I to say? they tell you what they want to become. You know, you just got to be open to it. But yeah, it's getting saucy. Okay, this black's dry enough here, so we can just throw in some misshapen teeth. And they probably don't have a great dental plan, so we're gonna, assume that they never went to the orthodontist and make the teeth a bit jagged. Crazy. Yeah, it's good. It's a good start for the mouth. Oh man, we're already coming up on 8:30. Time flies when you're painting weird stuff. Doesn't feel like I've been painting for an hour and a half, but apparently I have. But that's better than time dragging, right? Oopsie. And just going to give the spiel again for anybody who's joined. I know most of you guys in the chat have been here since the beginning, but looking at my stats, I'll tell you people tend to watch this stream for 10 to 15 minutes at a time. They pop in and out throughout. So for anyone who's watching that hasn't been here since the beginning, you are watching Art Autopsy. This is a bi-weekly live streaming art event that I host. And I encourage everyone watching at home to get your art supplies ready every 2 weeks and make some art with me. It doesn't have to be anything close to what I'm making. It can be whatever kind of art you want to create. Any medium is fine. The whole purpose is just to get you making art. It's a fun thing to do, and it's very satisfying. It's fun, and it gives we're building up a fun community of other artists here that join in the chat. Or even if you're just a fan of art and you're not an artist yourself, I'm happy to have you here watching. So anyway, so what I do, I create a new painting every live stream, and then I endeavor to try to get that painting finished before the next live stream. So this is episode number 9 right now, which means that I have created 8 paintings so far. Math is hard for this series. And then again, just for the new people, this is the piece that I made started during the last live stream, and this is how it is. This is how it shaped up. I just finished that last night. So there you go. There's the spiel. You can find me over on Patreon if you want to support the art, or even sign up just for a free account if you just want to get the news about events and stuff, or you can support my art directly by getting a paid account. I'm also on all the socials, Instagram, Facebook, blah, 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 blah. And now I'm done with that spiel for at least another half hour when I will deliver it again. More poorly each time. Again, just part of, that is the unfortunate part of, the only downside of doing art for a living is that it forces you to be a salesman, right? It's just, you got to play the game, I guess, to a degree. Now, one thing I could do with either his tail or the Audrey 2 here, or both, is maybe one of these has suction cups like a octopus tentacle, perhaps, or could have like a snake scale pattern. That could be a fun little detail depending on what kind of snake we wanted to emulate with that. So those are possibilities. Maybe we'll do both, maybe we'll do none. Just throwing that out there. Everything is on the table at this point in time. So we will see how crazy it gets as the painting progresses. Has anyone in here watched the TV show The Wire? It's an HBO show. It's about, well, I think the overarching thing is it's an examination of all the corrupt systems throughout the city of Baltimore. But it's one of, if not the best television shows ever made, in my opinion, and well worth watching. First season deals a lot with the drug trade in Baltimore, the cops as well as the criminals, but it really does a great job of humanizing everyone. There's really, even the bad guys, which would be the criminals, it really does a wonderful job of showing the humanity in everyone, Anyway, I mention it only because I just started watching it again for probably the 5th time. It's a great show, though. I highly recommend it. Okay, if I do get into any kind of a pattern or suction cups or whatever on the tentacles, that's going to come in the oil painting stage. I'm not going to commit to that right now. Otherwise, we'll be here all night just in the acrylic stage, and I certainly want to get to oil painting sooner than later, as I am sure you guys would appreciate me moving on with this painting. Art Lady Bluntzer has joined the chat. Hello, how are you? Thank you for joining us. I am doing well, just painting some weird stuff. Are you working on art today? Oh, that was the other part of the spiel that I forgot to repeat. Anybody who is making art today, if you want to share it with me and then in turn share it with all the viewers here, email it to me at clintcarneycreates@gmail.com and I'll share it on the next live stream. Oh, Julie talking about The Wire there. Yeah, that season is really depressing. I mean, there's a lot of sad stuff in the show for sure, especially when you realize just how reality based the whole thing is. But yeah, just really fantastic filmmaking and fantastic acting and everything. Oh, you know what I saw recently was Sinners. Did anybody else watch that? Uh, the connection there. I was reminded of that because Michael B. Jordan, who is now a big, A-list actor, got his start in The Wire. He was just a kid in that in season 1. Now he's a big-time actor, but also there's a character named Omar in The Wire, played by Michael K. Williams, who has sadly passed away, but his brother is in Sinners as well, and his brother is a phenomenal musician. His name is Saul Williams. If you don't know Saul Williams, look up his stuff. He's fantastic. In fact, yeah, he's got an album produced by Trent Reznor, which if you are not into Saul's music but you're into Trent's stuff, that's a good bridge to get into Saul's work. Ah, Art Lady Blunster, sounds like you have been quite busy with creative projects. That's awesome. And this, oh man, I gotta fix that shape of that arm for sure. But this arm right here is taking up a lot of real estate for just being a plain old arm. So I think one thing I like doing in a situation like that is like probably maybe add a tattoo or something to the arm, some kind of, give it a little more visual interest than just being this solid chunk of flesh that's taking up a lot of real estate in the painting without much visual interest. But that will come later. But anyway, Sinners, really enjoyed it. Pretty rad film. It's kind of one of those films where it starts out in one genre and turns into another genre, and that's about as much as I want to say because I'd rather not ruin anything for you. But great cast, great acting, cool effects, just yeah, worth checking out. And it's by, I forget the director's name, but he's the guy that directed Black Panther and Fruitville Station and a bunch of other cool stuff. Yeah, worth checking out. Oh, and I'm I'm working on a new movie right now, just on the visual effects side of things, just doing a few fun effects on a upcoming independent horror film called Demonatrix, which is co-directed by Jeff Farrell and Voltaire, the musician Voltaire, who is also a cool artist and all that stuff. So that's a fun project. Um, yeah, I don't. It's in progress, so I don't think I can really say a whole lot about it yet. I don't know what their level of secrecy around the project is yet, but it's I'm enjoying working on it. Oh, Jennifer says Ryan Coogler directed Sinners. That is right. Thank you. Thank you for the name assist. And then as far as movies go, I also, when I'm in the garage painting, which is like every night, I usually have something going in the VCR. So I got my VHS collection here, as you see behind me. And currently in the VCR is Hellraiser. I thought I would just go ahead and start a Hellraiser marathon, because why not? Oh, Charlie met Voltaire years ago. Cool. Yeah, he is a very nice gentleman. Got to chat with him yesterday, in fact, just about this movie, and enjoyed talking to him. I played some shows with him years back, but I don't think he remembered me, which is fine. But it was nice to chat with him. Oh, and I also this week just did an interview with online art zine called Nocturna Zine. So if anyone is familiar with that publication, check out that interview. I don't think it's up yet, or if it is, they haven't told me, but that'll be coming out soon. Okay, getting dangerously close to being able to put some color into this painting. I'm just going to finish up this lower section here. And as of yet, making zero commitment as to what the background of the painting is going to be. That's something I'm going to figure out once I get a handle on what colors are going to be happening with this character. And also, if I'm going to get super crazy with the detail on the character, I'll go with a simpler background. Or if I keep his detail more to a minimum, then maybe that'll give me some freedom to go a little crazier with the background. We'll see. Making it up as I go along. Charlie says you're doing oil or acrylic. Currently it's acrylic just for the underpainting, and it's going to move over to oil in about 2 minutes once I get into color. Undead of Night says, looking good, it could be a brother to the tequila worm in Poltergeist 2. Totally. Nothing's ever going to beat the first Poltergeist, but Poltergeist 2 does have a lot to love about it, especially the Reverend Kane in it. Just such a fantastic, creepy performance. Okay, looking cool. All right, I gotta take a quick break, guys, and I will be right back. Give me a couple minutes. I'll be right back, and we will move on to oil paint. And we are back. Thank you all for sticking around. Let's see, how many people did we lose? All right, hey, we didn't lose too many people. Okay, so at this point, the acrylic, see, I just stepped away for a couple minutes. Acrylic's pretty much all dry. So now we can move on to oil. We can start washing in some color on here and get him looking, you know, starting to look like something. You know, it's pretty goofy right now, to be honest. You know, it's going to require some work. I don't know exactly where it's going to go yet. Even by the time I'm done, by the time I'm ready to call it a night tonight, it's not going to be finished. I'm going to keep working on it, you know, for the next couple weeks until the next art autopsy. But when we return in 2 weeks, it's going to look even way more different and hopefully a lot better than when we leave it. But for now, let's think about what we want to do color-wise. So I've got my ye old bucket of paints over here. Let me start pulling out some colors. You know, maybe I'm just thinking out loud here, but maybe we'll have him be more of a, like a pale flesh tone. So like, yeah, her. You know what I'm feeling? Actually, like a pale blue, in fact. Yeah, bear with me on this. I'm gonna try something. We're gonna see. We're gonna see how it works. I've got a lot of blues to choose from here, but I'm gonna start out because I just picked up a new tube of phthalo blue. Haven't painted with that in a while, so that's where we're gonna start. Squeeze out some phthalo blue, and then I'm gonna squeeze out some titanium white. And I'm going to throw some Liquin on the palette. Liquin is my medium of choice for oil paint. It thins out your paint so you can do more translucent layers when glazing. It also accelerates dry time, which is super handy if you don't want to wait, you know, forever in between painting sessions. But to start with, I'm just going to put a very thin layer of this phthalo blue. I'm going to just start with his face and this hand, just to start with, just to kind of test this out to see if I'm feeling it. So on my palette over here, I'm mixing up the phthalo blue with just a bunch of Liquin. I'm going to get that over those parts of his body in the skin tone, and then I'm going to take the titanium white and I'm going to start working it into the blue. So the titanium white I am not going to mix with the medium, just the phthalo blue to start with, and then while that is wet on the canvas, I'm actually just going to mix the titanium white in directly on there. You'll see. But you can see, because I thinned it out so much with the medium, that it is allowing our value changes between light and shadow to shine through underneath. And in fact, I'm going to wipe some of this blue off even a little more, probably before I start coming in with the titanium white. I did a painting, and I don't even know, it's at least 10 years old, probably older, and it's called The Final Fire. I did a solo exhibition called The Final Fire, and the painting from that series that was called The Final Fire is it's one character, multiple versions of the same character. One of him is standing in the middle of the painting, and then there's 3 or 4 versions of him standing around himself, stabbing the center one to death. It's a very disturbing painting. It lives now at some gallery in, I want to say, Austria somewhere, or some personal collection. Some collector from Europe bought it. But that skin tone on that character, which was this palish blue, that's the look that I'm going for with this one. And if you're familiar with that painting, you'll know that it doesn't look this blue. This is just a stage in getting there toward that skin tone. So it's all just, it comes together in layers, you know. But already, I love just seeing color start to come in on a painting, especially when we just spent the last 2 hours staring at this thing in grayscale, you know. It's nice to get some little pops of color in. And so the liquid will accelerate the dry time, but that just means when I come back to this painting tomorrow, any of the paint that was mixed with the liquid will be dry enough for tomorrow's session, but it's not going to dry while we're here on this live stream. It doesn't dry that fast, thankfully, because then it would be pretty unworkable. It's good to have fast drying paint when you want to move fast, like the acrylic for the underpainting, but once you're getting into color and blending and detail and stuff, I prefer the slow dry of the oil. And of course, as we continue to work, the skin tone will get more and more complex. It's not just going to end up being blue. That is just our starting point. Okay, now I'm going to start working in a little bit of titanium white into this blue, and for this I'm going to move over to a brush that is not so new, because this part of the process I can be a little hard on my brushes, and I don't want to mess up anything that is brand new. But see how just, you probably can't see it, but this blue is very wet right now with the liquid. So I could just take a little bit of titanium white and just start, little circular motions on here. And it just wants to blend right in. And just look how smooth already, like this part is looking. And I want to be careful not to go too deep into the shadows with my with my titanium white there. Just keep it in the highlights, and I can even let it venture out a little bit into the midtones, because after all I am blending it in with the blue. I'm trying to really just get a nice soft transition. Charlie says needs a black widow spider. You never know. One might make an appearance. I on a recent painting that I completed, if anyone who's following me on socials has already seen this, but I encased the palette for the painting in clear resin behind the painting, and I included also a black widow in there, and for whatever reason that seemed to that video of me doing the encasing and talking about the spider seemed to do pretty well for some reason. But it has been getting pretty hot, so I eventually, fairly recently installed an air conditioner in my garage here, which is where I'm painting from. And while moving stuff around to get the air conditioner in place, I found a black widow who was already dead when I found her, but she was pretty well preserved. The body was a little desiccated, but in general all of the limbs were intact and pretty well preserved. So I just held on to it for some reason. I had it sitting on my table over there watching as I painted for 3 weeks or so on a piece, and then when I finished I just thought it would be fitting to encase the spider right along with the palette as the corpse of the spider bore witness to the creation of the painting. These are normal sentences that humans say, right? See? Just the white and the blue there is already making him look a bit more interesting. Again, we're going to get in with more colors and it'll be cleaned up and stuff, but yeah, I'm going to squeeze out some alizarin crimson onto my palette and you'll see what I do with that. Again, I'm going to mix some liquid in with my crimson, so I'm not going in too bold with the color yet. Those bold color choices are for a future date with the painting, but right now I'm just layering, right? And I'm working just a real thin layer of this crimson into these shadows and then just gently working it out and blending into the blue and the titanium white that we've already established. Just getting a little transition going on from our colors, from our blue to our red, going with a warm shadow and a cool highlight, which is not typical, but you can get some cool results when you do the opposite of what you're supposed to. It's art. There are no rules. Well, there are, but you know. They're there for the breaking. You'll see I got a little sloppy there with the red going over the sclera of the eye, but that is okay because that is going to get blended in just a moment. So not sweating that. And now, though I mixed the liquid um, with the crimson on my palette, I have kind of a gradient, right? So it starts out with just thick crimson, and then as it moves out to the right on my palette, the crimson gets thinner and thinner. So depending on what part of my selection I dip the brush in, will dictate how strong the hue is. So like in the nose, or like right there where I want it to be a little thicker, I just go with, or a little bolder on the color, I just go with less liquid, more paint. And then when I'm just getting into the shadows on the flesh and stuff like that, where I want it to be a little smoother of a transition, it leans more toward the liquid side, less paint, more liquid. Just making all of these decisions on the fly. And there's nothing that you can do in a painting that you can't fix later if you mess it up. So don't be shy about making bad calls when you're creating. Because even if you make a mistake, you can turn it into something cool. Now, what I'm starting to feel with this, I'm liking this combination of the blue and the red, and I might just lean into kind of like a primary color palette theme here, and maybe make like a have yellow be our third color, and have that just be for very specific pops, like the irises of the eyes. That's a maybe, just explaining my thought process as I go. Or even if I went with like a tertiary color and did like a vibrant pop of like a bright green, that might also be cool. Or I could do both. I could do yellow and green. Okay, now I can just take a very thin amount of the titanium white and find little places where I can also just work selected little highlights into the, blend it right in with the crimson. You know, not going to go overboard, but just little pops of white here and there. Let's see, missing some chat here. Let's see, Undead of Night. I've never tried oil painting, but I think watching a few more streams of how you control the paint might push me to trying it. Just not sure I'm good enough to justify the expense. The tail looks like it's coming out of the side of his head. I'd be tempted to call it an earworm. Nice. My dad's watching too. Looking great, Clint. He says, thank you. The Undead of Night, I highly recommend giving it a shot. It's not as expensive as you would think. For one, the tubes by themselves on the surface, yeah, they are pricier than acrylics, but they go way further. You know, you can get a lot of mileage out of a tube of oil paint, even though the tubes are smaller than acrylic, and they'll still last you 10 times as long. I've got some tubes in my art box here that are, no joke, over 20 years old, and I haven't used them up yet. So specific colors I go through fast. But also, if you're just starting out with it and you don't want, and you want to keep the cost under control early on, you don't need to buy, I'm looking for my yardstick here. You don't need to buy every color under the sun. Oh, sorry, one second. All you really need is, just pick up the primary colors. You get like black, white in the primaries, and then just force yourself to mix the other colors. As long as you have those, you can mix any color that you want. And learning to mix up colors is also just going to strengthen your painting game. But it's a lot of fun. Okay, starting to turn into something. Obviously, this is going to take a lot of layers before it's really anything too cool. I'm going to get in there and fix up the mouth in a bit, so ignore that mouth right now. But first, I just want to, while I got the blue that's nice and fresh on there, I want to make sure I get in and blend the colors in with it that I want blended before it gets too tacky. Oh, Charlie makes a good point about seeing tubes of paint at estate sales and garage sales. That's an excellent point, because a lot of people will start will buy oil paint, and they don't stick with it, and so they sell it, and you can get pretty good prices. In fact, every time I see, if I'm at a garage sale and I see like someone selling paint, I generally pick it up, because it's never hurts to have more paint. But yeah, you'll find good prices that way. And then or estate sales, even if someone you might find an estate sale where someone was an artist, and again, since this paint just lasts forever, because it really never dries when it's in the tube, it could be, the paint itself could be quite old but still workable. So yeah, it's worth keeping an eye out for stuff like that. So I'm laughing at the ridiculous rendering of these fingers right here. They're going to need some more love in terms of anatomical correctness. Right? They're kind of certainly very loosely rendered, to be nice to myself about it, to put it that way. But that's all right. By the time I'm done with it, they'll be in better shape. Not today, but sometime in the future, that hand will not be so goofy. And just going to bring in some of this crimson into the shadows here. Bring it in along the border. Just give it a quick blend. Also, if you get too much pigment in, so like again in this case, the I'm thinning out these paints with liquid, but if you end up brushing in too much pigment onto your canvas, you can always just dip your brush in straight up liquid and put that right on the canvas and thin it out that way, you know. Again, there's no mistake that you could possibly make that you could not fix. Okay, well that arm's going to need work, but I'm not going to waste a ton of time on it right now. I want to make a little more headway on the rest of the piece, but okay, let's throw a little bit of color into the eyes. First I want to again, I'm just going to take a little bit of titanium white and fix the sclera right here, blend it in a little bit with that crimson that I so loosely let play over there. There we go. See, now it's a little more of a gradient. And I just, see, this is why I use this thing. I just dragged my hand through wet paint. Oh, thank you, Liz. Appreciate the comment. Okay, I am going to, let's pop a little color in there. I'm just going to squeeze out some yellow ochre. And then I'm going to make a little gradient on my palette using yellow ochre and titanium white, so I have some different shades of the color to choose from, and we're going to get in and just add a little tad bit of color into the iris. And I just lost the paintbrush somehow. Somehow a paintbrush just disappeared into the ether. Which happens from time to time. Is it in my lap? No, I don't know. Yeah, oh, never mind. Here it is, right in front of my laptop. Okay. Mix up this quick gradient with the ochre. The right hand has a left hand and thumb. Good eye on that. Yeah. You may notice though that yeah, it is unclear where these limbs are coming from, and will remain unclear. I'm surprised you're the first person to point that out. You know what? I got my other camera rolling here, and I haven't started and stopped the recording this whole time. It's been running for 2 hours straight. I just like to restart it periodically in case it messes up. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? Squeeze out a little iron oxide red just to give me a little bit of darker color variation to play off of the ochre at the ends of the iris. And then close to the pupil, I'll lighten things up a bit here. And again, this is just, everything is in layers. This is just first stages of this eye, first stages of these eye details, certainly not the final stages. Next pass, once this one's dry, I will likely glaze in some cadmium yellow or maybe some lemon yellow and really make those pop, and then get into the highlights and things like that with it. But yeah, again, we're early stages. Now again, just taking this yellow ochre, and we're going to make his dental work even sexier. Nice butter yellow teeth. Isn't that lovely? There is no right hand. It's all lefts for this dude. It's been a lifelong issue for him. But in his defense, this hand is growing out of part of his head. So theoretically, he might have a right hand here that has just not materialized yet. We don't know. We don't know what he will become. And just mixing up a little bit of the, again, titanium white with a little bit of the alizarin crimson. Give us a little bit of a pink color. And just make it look a little glisteny in there. We will eventually go through and do some bolder specular highlights, but that's like a final stages kind of thing. Yeah, I was laughing at Charlie's comment. Thought I was going to give him a grill. Yes. Oh, Charlie is crashing out, it seems. Well, thanks for watching, Charlie. Appreciate it. Have a good night. Elizabeth says, "Love the movie. We Bought a Museum." I don't know that one. I did art for We Bought a Zoo. Different movie. Just art on that one. Did not do effects. Art and some minor prop work. The one with Matt Damon and Scarlett Johansson. It's the one I worked on. Super fun one. One of my early adventures in Hollywood land. And we're just going to keep moving forward with our thinned out blue onto this hand next. Let's see, 1038. I'll tell you what, guys, I think I'm gonna try to hold on till 10 o'clock. Let's see how much progress we can make by 10, and then we'll reassess whether or not keep the stream going. But again, just for new people that have joined in, who are new to the stream, you're watching Art Autopsy. This is a bi-weekly live art event that I do, and I encourage everybody who's watching at home, if you are artistically inclined or curious about it, grab a piece of paper and a pencil, a pen, paint, clay, whatever your medium of choice is, and make some art with me. And if you join me every 2 weeks, I will always be here making art. And if you make anything that you would like to show off, feel free to email it to me at clintcarneycreates@gmail.com. And every week I share the work of the watchers from the previous week, anyone who's wanted to share their work. So if you got something that you've been working on during this live stream that you want to share, email it to me. And if I could ask a quick favor, again, this is for the new folks. If you don't mind, if you're having a good time watching, please hit the like button on ye old YouTube stream, and that just helps let the YouTube algorithm know that people are interested in this kind of content, and they'll show it to more people. So I would appreciate it. Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and layer the blue in on the rest of his flesh tones here. And see what it's looking like after that. I still haven't decided on, so this one right here, because it's his tail ultimately, it's going to start blue, but I don't want it going blue into blue. By the time it gets around here, it's got to have a color shift, otherwise it's just not going to be that visually interesting. So I got to think about what color that wants to transform into by the time it goes into his mouth. But I don't have to decide right away. Maybe not even today. We'll see. Oh, thank you, Julie. Appreciate the nice comment. Oh, Liz was talking about We Bought a Zoo. Yes, that is the one. Yeah, so in that movie, the kid whose name I am forgetting, who plays Matt Damon's son in the movie, is an artist. And I drew all of his art, as well as making the tiger logo for the zoo and some other random prop stuff that I got pulled into along the way. But that was my primary job. I was hired to be the art, to do the art for the kid. So not quite my style, because the director was going for something halfway in between Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark and Francis Bean's art, and that was kind of the what you see in the movie is that middle ground that we agreed upon between those two styles. And I certainly made sure to homage the work within that in the movie, so that the source material was clear. And then this is just titanium white here, but because the blue is still wet, I can just work it right in, right on the canvas, blend it in with that blue, and then we get a nice soft tone. And because this is obviously a no a no photo reference type painting, just shooting from the hip, all the way through. For those of you who have been here since the beginning of the stream, you saw it come together. You know that it's just started out as a few squiggly lines and turned into this. So I'm just making up, kind of what I feel would be an accurate-ish representation of where the light might hit the figure or whatever, and how the shadows might be cast. But that being said, inevitably I'm going to come back into the garage tomorrow and look at this painting and realize that I messed up a lot of that stuff, and then I'll rework it. But yeah, sometimes you just don't see all of the flaws in a piece you're working on until you have some distance from it. So I'm sure this will be one of those pieces. I can all but guarantee it. I was talking before, earlier on when I was talking about, light sources and stuff on this painting, and I was saying maybe there'll be a rim light coming up from the back too, but now I'm kind of thinking maybe it'd be cool to have like him underlit a bit by like a very bold colored light, so that's something I'm going to consider, and certainly churn around in my head as I go forward, see if that's would be appropriate or not. And then, of course, I will decide whether or not he gets a right arm. I do kind of like just only left arms. There's something extra funny about that to me. I don't know why. And maybe this might not end up being what it stays, but just for fun, I'm gonna glaze in some ochre over the top of this part of his tail. And then where it dips behind his back, that's when we'll get into our color shift. Right, so start with a little bit of ochre there. Then we'll come up with our phthalo blue here. Got a little too much of the blue on the canvas, right? Wipe that down a bit. And then just slowly work them toward each other. They're going to come together and obviously form a little bit of a green in this transition here. And there we go. And now I can even get crazy with it and work a little bit of this ochre back into this part of his tail. Now we have a somewhat clumsy transition, but it's good start. It's a good start. And again, I'll probably end up doing some kind of a pattern on here, either a scale pattern or maybe I'll turn it into a tentacle with suction cups. So I'm not going to go crazy on the detail on any of these tentacle pieces yet, because I don't know really what it's going to fully turn into. And I just want to get a little bit of that warmth in there from the crimson. Okay. I think I might be at a stopping point for the night. Yeah, I want to. I don't want to commit yet to that color or the background at this point, and I think it's a good spot to just pause on and come back to this tomorrow or the next day with fresh eyes, and then kind of reassess and decide where it's going. But yeah, anyway, I just want to say thank you guys so much. Thanks for everyone who stuck around for the whole stream, or even if you were just able to pop in for a few minutes. I really appreciate you guys watching. It means a lot to me. I'm going to be working on this piece for the next 2 weeks, and 2 weeks from today, I will be back with another live stream, and I will show you how this guy turned out. And in the meantime, if you want to, follow me, I'm on all the socials, or if you follow me over on Patreon, you can see kind of how this shapes up as I go. Anyway, that's it for tonight. Again, thanks guys. Really appreciate you. I will see you in 2 weeks.